So this is funny. I've been talking for like 5 minutes, and I had my YouTube stream up in a second window just so I could make sure it was working. And I've been refreshing the stream and going, why is it still not popped up on YouTube yet? It's because I forgot to click the go live button. So you just missed all of the brilliant shit that I have said in my entire life. Uh, you have missed me dragging on Nat, who's going to join me live in a few moments, so we can get more of her high energy and hilarity out on the internet, because I think she's really, really funny. I think she's got a good taste in books, and I'm trying to bully her into starting a YouTube channel that I've drunkenly come up with the name for. And we'll see if Cole of Comic Burrito fame, who I unboxed some stuff that he sent me yesterday, can ignore work. But I will say that my technical difficulties are inspired by the Comic Burrito, since there have been a couple of times where, like, right before the stream, it's gone dead, or Todd had to restart his computer, and he was the host of the stream. So I'll say that I'm taking this directly out of their playbook. So I'll tell you what I just opened, and then we'll see if I can get some good reactions from Nat on some of these books. But this is from the Round Boy Comics auctions that I've been joining in on Sunday nights. It runs something like 5 to 9 Eastern every Sunday night. If you just go in your search bar on Facebook and type in Round Boy Comics, they will pop up, and it's a good auction. They have a good variety of books from time to time. In the last auction I participated in, they had a metric ton of Golden Age Disney books that were in beautiful condition, and I was like, those are cool to see, but I don't want them. So I don't remember everything that's in this pile. So we'll see if there's anything that is of interest. Or I might have a small person. Hello, is that Charlie? Charlie, you want to come be our extra guest? So you've seen my two older children in Toby and Ainsley, and there's my wife sneaking in because she doesn't know that I'm live. But here's Charlie. Charlie, can you say hi to everybody? Hi. Are you feeling better? He's been a bit of a Mr. Grump today, but we found out that he's got sore ears and have been lathering him in lotion and giving him an addiction to infant Tylenol and ibuprofen all day, and he's in a better mood. You gonna go play outside with mommy? You gonna play outside? Yeah. Outside? You want to tell everybody bye-bye? Come
on, Charlie.
You want to blow everybody a kiss?
Let's go outside.
Mwah. All right. Have fun. I'll be outside in a little bit, Bubba.
Sorry.
All right. No, you're fine. All right. So there you go. There's Charlie. It looks like Nat is all set up and ready to go. So I knew that I would enjoy Nat from the first time we started randomly shit-talking the Comic Burrito Boys in a YouTube live stream. And then she has been just the pure dose of Florida. Every time that I hear her say something when I talked about being distracted by my children, her response was give them some firecrackers and a broken lighter, which I think is the embodiment of the Florida spirit. So I'm going to click a button, and we're going to make sure it works, and we're going to welcome Nat onto the stream.
Whoa. I'm in the box. I'm in the tiny box.
You are in the tiny box. You're now internet famous.
And my cat?
And there's your cat.
Famous?
Yeah.
There's two of them. See, I'm not crazy. There's always two of them. And they're twins. They're identical twins. Do you want to guess what their names? I know I've said their names. Do you want to guess which one is which?
No, because I'm going to be a bad person for remembering cat names.
This is Sweet Barbecue Sauce.
Nice.
And then this is Keanu Pajama Potato. She's being just a little mischievous.
She's camera shy and tearing things up.
Yes, she is.
Nice.
I'm just now making a gin and ginger ale with lime.
Oh, Cole guessed wrong because Cole's guess was gin and tonic.
I don't drink tonic. It's disgusting. Ugh. No.
But I think you can offset that with good enough gin. Like
yes, yeah,
New
possible.
Amsterdam, I'll take that. That's a good way to save it. And I think I told everybody what I was drinking when it was just you and me in StreamYard, and I realized I hadn't pushed the button. But I'm drinking a Fling cucumber and lime gin and tonic, made right here in the fine area of Kansas City.
Kansas City. There's two of them, though.
I live on the Kansas side, not where the sports ball teams are.
Well, is that number 1 or number 2? Kansas City number 1 or number 2?
Number 2.
So he number 2.
I'll take that.
Give me just a second. I just realized I have my notification still on, so let me just turn on the do not disturb.
That works for me. I forget to do that all the time. I will have random things show up when I'm streaming from my computer at school, so kids will see all kinds of inappropriate shit pop up. Oh, hey, Hydra's here.
Oh, hello.
So, Hydra, I swear to God, sounds like Pete Davidson, but I met Hydra Sunday night through one of Metaphorical's comic auctions, and I bought a bunch of stuff from Hydra on Sunday night because that auction, Hydra, did that go until like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning? And then I was excited to buy some things from Hydra at Wednesday night's auction, and I passed out. And when I woke up in my uncomfortable chair at 3 in the morning and the auction was still going, I was like, okay, hopefully Hydra picked up some money. But where I already can tell that Hydra is in a similar place to me with me is in terms of modern comics, that Hydra, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but Hydra just recently took a hiatus away from comics and is now selling off some of his older stuff to be able to survive the COVID world. But Hydra's got a cool collection. Hydra's got a cool couple of things up on his channel. And I think, I've said a bunch of nice things about, the folks at the Comic Burrito, because that's where Nat and I met. And those guys are fun and weird in their own Michigan way. But I think y'all should check out Hydra. And he was going to ship me my winnings yesterday until I realized I'm bad at Instagram and could not respond and give him my address. So I'm guessing around Tuesday of next week or Wednesday of next week, I'll have a Hydra unboxing. Nice. So, all right, Nat, I'll show you what I got, and you tell me if you think it's a piece of shit or you can make fun of it or not. Oh, shit. Peter's in the house.
Oh, yay.
We're getting the whole Twitter gang together.
Yeah. Oh, wait, Peter, tag Comic Chick really quick and send her the link, please.
Oh, yeah.
She's across the pond, so it's like a 5-hour time difference minimum, I think. I only know that because Mondays they play D&D with a virtual group, and most of them are in the UK. I'm not that smart. I don't know time difference like that.
Well, and if she hops in, you can DM her, or are you on your phone or your computer?
I'm on my phone right now.
Oh. Well, if she's interested and hops in the chat, I can DM her the link and we can add a touch of European charm to the Midwestern and Florida disaster that we have.
Oh, yeah. No, oh, man, that should be my hashtag Florida disaster. That's probably trending already.
I can't remember how many of these were in I think it might be just the pair. I have Weird Mystery Tales, a DC comic from 1975. I have issue number 16 and 15.
Uh-huh.
And this was one of those things that, you know, as I think my attitude towards a lot of like Silver Age books is if it's something that's at a reasonable price point that's kind of cool, then I will pick it up. So I think for the pair of these, I might have paid like less than $8 or $9.
Not bad.
So you've got what looks to be werewolves attacking the appropriation of white people wearing indigenous clothing.
Okay, so that one is super insulting.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with it. And it's mainly just because it's insulting to werewolves to assume that, no, we know why it's insulting. I'm American Indian. And
well, yeah.
I think it's hilarious though. And I'm not one of those people that gets like super like tight butthole about things. I would totally buy that. That's killer. I'm glad you got that.
And then the other one, it looks like we have a scarecrow like murking a dude while his kids and dog are hiding behind a creepy wagon.
Mm-hmm.
So why did I buy these? Because they were old and cheap. And I guess that's the same kind of love I have for my whiskey. And, you know, since Peter's around and following that dude on Twitter and getting to interview him on my blog, he just is a fucking sponge of comic knowledge. So I'm going to guess at any point in here, Peter has probably read all of these books, owns a million of them, and they're hidden in the second layer of his shelf and statues in his corner. And he can tell me why. If I don't remember why it's cool, it's cool. But those were fun.
I think that's a really good pickup. And the reason why is whether or not it's a good read at this point. One, the covers are super unique to me. I'm just a big fan of what's unique and what is kind of not necessarily deeply thought-provoking, but just doesn't make you stop and just question just for a second, like, wait, what did I just look at? Like, that's what I think's great about those.
And I think they're good too, right? That even if like they have both of these books graded at a 5, and it's probably going to be because the pages are brown as shit. But these could even be, like, I know you were talking to folks once you got your new shelves and whatnot set up about, like, displaying books. The other cool thing about these is these are just 2 books that would present well in that kind of situation that, you know, there's not broken color, there's not, you know, gnarly imprints or things like that on there. So I'll take it.
Sorry, I have to keep an eye out for cats as well. Sometimes they misbehave.
They're going to fight your phone. Spawn number 24. I don't know why. I think I got Spawn 24 for like $2. And it's because I heard people say that there are a lot of folks who collect Spawn. Finding the books that are numbered below 100 are more difficult to find than the numbers above 100. So if there's anybody that I like out there that is a Spawn collector, you can just send me a message and I'll send you this book. Because I lucked into it. If someone's been looking for Spawn number 24, then it can be yours. That Nat and the Burrito Boys will vouch that I'll try my best to pack things using shit that I've gotten from everybody else and send it out.
I didn't know that about Spawn. I'm not into many mainstream under Marvel or DC. The standard for me is just going to be Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, and then I immediately pivot to anything independent for the most part. But Spawn, I think, is a really interesting character for what I do know, which is as much as on here as it measures. I know very little about Spawn, but I think that's a really cool fact. And so if I ever happen to see one in a store, now I'll understand like anything less than 100, it's probably going to be, you know, something unique.
There we go. I knew something that Peter can confirm, which makes me seem smarter. But I think I am trending in the same direction that you are, Nat, that and Hydra adds in that 1 to 250 are also picking up. So Spawn is catching some of that heat back up. I bought number 300 when it came out because it was Spawn 300, and I was like, okay, because it was like 2 months after I started buying comics again. But I think, I'm taking a pivot in the direction where you kind of are, that I'm reading far more independent stuff than I am Marvel at this point. DC, I think I'm reading more of it, just kind of increase my knowledge base. But I mean, without Spawn and Todd McFarlane kind of carving out, what they did with that first run of Spawn, then we wouldn't have Image kind of be the beast that it is.
Yeah.
And I think your mention of Squirrel Girl will make you kind of like these pickups, because I don't think it's the right Avengers, because Squirrel Girl was part of the Great Lakes Avengers.
I think when I really started researching her, I want to say I saw something about and I'm not trying to make this up, but the new Avengers or something like that. It was and I was just like, this is really interesting. And when I asked the first LCS I was going to over by my address just a couple months ago, they were like, what are you talking about? And I was just like, I don't even feel like explaining it. Never mind. I'll just look it up on the internet. It's fine.
No, the new Avengers I know is a thing, because people will make fun of the new Avengers, and then my pickup is the favorite Avengers for everybody to shit on, the West Coast Avengers. So
why?
I think the reason why I wanted to pick these up, I really like Jeff the Land Shark that has shown up in the Deadpool comics now.
There's a land shark?
Yeah, I'll send you a picture, because it might be the first comic figure or comic book action figure that I'm going to buy. Not like the ones that I have behind me. I have a neighbor who's selling off his toy collection, and he was like, "You like Namor?" and gave me that one, and then I stole a Green Arrow from my kids. But I wanna do that. Yeah, Cola's chiming in. You get a lot of prominence of good old Hawkeye in the West Coast Avengers. So I think the reason why I wanted to pick these books up, again, they're old, but they were cheap and they present well. And I like characters that aren't, they're the off the beaten path. Like, I really like Booster Gold from DC, right? That he's a fucking meme in a lot of his appearances, because he's there, screws things up, and then learns about, the mistake he made from his robot. And I like that. I like Namor the Submariner, who just kind of shows up as a villainous foil, and nobody kind of talks about the old past. And my slab, when it comes in, the only thing that I will tease about it, two things. It's a DC book, and it's the first appearance of a Legion, but I won't tell you which one. But when you see it, and I read to you the CGC notes, a lot of you will go, that makes sense, because you collect dumb shit.
And I will go, none of it makes sense, because I don't even know, would you say Legion?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is my confused face. No. I mean, I could start making up characters, and I have a higher chance of possibly guessing. But
so
don't even try. No, because then you're going to give more away.
If you put the words Legion and Super together and just spitballed for 35 minutes, you would land on it in the fourth or fifth guess. And I think when you hear it, you'll go, I might want to read this DC book, because I didn't know it was a thing. I'll make that promise.
Okay, maybe I'll consider it. I'm always open-minded. I can say the only close to DC book that's on my shelf is a DC Vertigo Hex Wives. I happen to have an issue one that the LCS Comics and stuff. The girl's like, hey, we just happen to have one for $1. And I was like, she's like, do you even know about this? I was like, not at all. Gimme. And then I ended up getting the trade for it, because it's a single volume trade.
Yeah.
And it's still in my to be read stack right over here.
Nice. Peter says Legion is totally up your alley.
So
That
is bowling. So let's go. Come on, Peter.
that's why I wanted Nat around. Because your level of cornball jokes is right there.
But I do bowl. I have 3 balls upstairs.
I have 2 balls right here. Mhm.
No, but my balls are 13 pounds each.
Yeah,
Mm.
not mine. Haha. But yeah, I think there are some elements of Legion that you would like. But I figure when I show you the last 2 sets of things that I have here in front of me, we can talk about some of the indie books that you got into this week. Because I know today, like, you were tagging everybody about a new AWA book.
Yes.
And it's one that I had not seen the release stuff on. And I know that, like, you tweeted it out, and within like 5 minutes, was it both AWA and Upward were chatting back with you?
Upshot, yes. They both.
Yeah.
And I have to say this, it's a really good, both of them are interactive companies. I don't know why they're branded as separate. Like, I don't know if it's like AWA and Upshot to them. I'm not that versed in it. But they're both really communicative companies, and everything that I'm seeing from all of them, from those 2 together, it seems like AWA and Upshot are really trying to do something different with not only just the physical comics that they're putting in our hands, but digital as well. And they're the only ones, I feel very safe in saying, I had to think about it, I feel very safe in saying that Hotel is the only comic that I was like, okay, I'm going to read it online just because I can't get it in my hands, because that's how much I really wanted to know about what happened in Hotel issue 2. And actually not, and I do have to say this, the other comic that I did read digitally though was, oh God, I want to lick it. It's on my shelf. It's buried somewhere in there, but it's so good.
I have to find number 1. So the way that I can tell whether or not I've read something is if my plastic tab is still up. But everybody who's been talking about Hotel has got me. And again, we know Nat is right because, again, Peter agrees with her. I've read Red Border, which, holy shit, the end of book 2 is creepy as hell. I've read Archangel 8. I've read The Resistance. And then I have both Year Zeros to pick up or to read because number 1 wasn't on my pull list in time to get me an extra copy. But I'm loving AWA. We know the boys over at the Burrito are also big fans, and I think they're killer in terms of not just a company that wants to do a good job like interacting with fans, but they have a good mixture on all of their books that are coming out with some kind of heavy hitter name that you know. And then the second book, or the second, the second title will be people that are maybe the next up and comers. It's the next like people in line. And I think it's kind of cool because, I bought whichever Year Zero because Ben Percy is on it and I liked what he's doing on Wolverine. And then because I liked his writing on some of those books, I was like, if this is so good, I'm going to give everything else a chance. So I think it's cool that, all of their books are, the sad thing is that all of their books are like 4 or 5 issues and we don't know if they're continual.
Here's the thing is, I believe and I wish I could give you a reference, so you'd probably have to just go to the AWA site and look it up, but I'm pretty sure everything that's out right now, because Resistance was first, which I am faulty in the fact that I have not gotten that yet. I know I need to. I'm hearing good things about it. But everything that they were putting out right now, I believe is all in the same universe. So I'm not really sure what to expect of that, but I really believe, I was like, okay, that's going to come into play, of course.
Well, and if that's true, that makes me want to read it gives me a different lens to then read everything through. Is
Double
to
check
kind
what's
of
on their website first.
Yeah.
Like, make sure I'm not wrong, so you don't go just like spending everything at it. Because that kind of makes it's like, oh my god, do I buy everything now? Do I wait for all the trades? What do I do? But you're right, because they're shorter. In like right now we know Hotel is one of, was it 4?
Yeah.
Right. That's painful because 3 will be out soon, but it's only once a month anyways. But still,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, there's 4 in this, but knowing that what's out right now is on the same universe, it's almost like, okay, are they going to condense this? Are they going to give us like a nice little, maybe we'll get a nice little collection once all of these like current arcs are done?
That would like a publisher anthology instead of a traditional trade. Cole has said that he thinks he's seen that Year Zero's got a second arc, and I've gone distant for a second because I saw Comic Chick pop up in the chat that she is here.
Yay!
So I am DMing her the link on Twitter. So Comic Chick, if you want to hop in with us, even if your internet is slow, you can add some over the pond class to Nat and I talking about things. But I figure we'll talk about the last 2 sets of things I have in the box, and then we can talk about whatever anybody else wants to. So this book is a Mystery in Space. It's Mystery in Space number 89, which there is an appearance of Adam Strange in here. And I like that because some of the older Adam Strange books are getting a little bit of heat because of Strange Adventures is out. And then I want to say, and here's where I'm going to rely on Peter again. I'm not confident enough to say that I remember this being the first appearance of Hawkman, but it's definitely an early appearance of Hawkman. But again, one of those things, relatively cheap pickup. Again, it presents well. This one you see, if you look up closely at it, it's got, and I can't show a good angle, it's got the most kind of wear and tear at the spine, and they've got it graded at a 1.8. And, would I ever send this book in to be put in the glass case? No, or the plastic case. But again, in the same way that we talked about the first books that I pulled out, it would be something like you could put and make it a good conversation PC kind of thing, or displays well.
I could see something like that being a part of a collection of just that category that you then, how people used to take their records and like push pin the corners up on a wall? Yep. Like you could find a nicer way to treat the comic books, of course, but do something like that to where you've got like a really interesting like wallpaper kind of aspect from all of the comic books in that kind of theme. Hold on, cat doing a bad thing.
Yeah, and Comic Chick has said it's her mom's birthday.
Well, we'll have to schedule then.
Yeah.
But happy birthday to your mom.
Yes. You can, hopefully your mom enjoys gin. Both Nat and I will cheers your mom.
Cheers.
But yeah, I have confidence saying that even if I don't randomly open a box, that you and I can chat together and we'll factor in time zones for Comic Chick.
Yeah.
And I got another message. Yeah. All right, Comic Chick, when you hear me, so I'm not typing and trying to act like I'm talking to a comic or a camera at the same time, and I'll create a message group that's me and Nat, and we can plane about this instead of me holding up a book and Nat's like, here's what I'll say about this random piece of shit.
I've always got something to say, though.
Here's the last thing that I got. There was a heavy Disney theme to the auction. I've got, 4.5 now? Kid who turns 5 in November, a 3.5-year-old, and an 18-month-old. That face is 2 we were planning. We could manage the first 2 that distance apart. And then when number 3 happened, we didn't know we could have kids that way, and I didn't get to have birthday sex ever again. So you all just drink that image in. But I'm looking for things that I can read with my kids or share with my kids, or books that I can leave sitting out, because my collection is literally in my master bedroom closet, where like you have to be afraid of cats at any point in time. If you leave a low cabinet open or you leave something sitting
Right.
out, I've got the same thing. So for a whole $6, I picked up Disney's Duck Adventure, number 2, I think 4 and 5, 2, 3, and 5, because I love me some DuckTales. I love me some Angry Duck Family, and to pick up 3 books that are, you know, all 64 to 72 pages. These are all like double plus issues.
Yeah.
Is
Okay,
a cool
so-
thing to share.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so woo for DuckTales. Seriously. The other thing, oh God, I'm gonna have to find this tweet that going along with the DuckTales comment, though. I just saw this hilarious comment. Somebody described DuckTales as like Rick and Morty, but without all the weird stuff or something on Twitter. And but I'm not that into Rick and Morty yet. Please don't fault me. I know it's on my list, but
Me neither. I think I'm a little too old for that shit, but I at least get the reference. That's
I'm of the Aqua Teen Hunger Force era, so that's just a whole different conversation. But so with regards to the Disney comics that you just so happen to have in your hands, yes, excellent idea. It's not only going to get your kids excited about like, oh, this is something that my dad likes, but he's willing to share it with me so I can touch these, because what do they want to do to your current comics?
Yeah. I have the things that they can touch the closest, with the exception of This Inhumans. Like, I even have, my mom got me a Batmobile Lego set for my birthday. So I'll even let them get down and play with that, so they are close enough to not tear up anything that I care about.
Right. But the thing is like, you don't want them to you don't want them to not enjoy it. You want them to have an understanding and an excitement. Oh, Hydra's big fan of Aqua Teen. Sorry.
Yep.
Excited. I have a Master Shake glass pendant.
Nice.
I'll post a picture. But either way, like, you want to be able to share your collection eventually with them at some point.
Yeah.
And you want them to understand and appreciate it and know how to handle it when they get to that age.
Yeah.
But like, if they never get to touch it, like, are they ever going to be excited about it? No. So those are great. I have some Disney comics. I have a Little Mermaid, I have a Beauty and the Beast, and I have a Frozen that I snagged in the dollar bin at my LCS. I go to Yancey Street South now. But I got them because I have goddaughters. My best friend has two little girls, and her sister has 2 little girls. And then, like, I've got a lot of little kids that I'm like the fun aunt, because I have cats for reasons. Like, I like cats and I like to be able to give people's kids back to them. But like, the Disney comics are great, and I'm not going to be upset if they destroy them, because they are theirs for that reason. But Duck Avenger, oh my goodness.
I'll look and see if there's more than that. And that looks like one of those titles that will hit the nostalgia piece for me, but then is also something relevant because there's a new DuckTales show.
Yes. I don't know about the animation of the new show. I that's just because I'm part of the classic. I'm a child of the 80s, born in the 80s, stuck in the 90s.
Yeah, and I get you in terms of the sharing actual books, that both of my 2 older kids like going to the shop with me. Most of it's because they know it's time with daddy. But my strategy with Toby, will either buy dollar bin books that I look at and go, yeah, my wife won't divorce me because it's not a bunch of boobs and explosions.
Right.
But the books that I've bought for Toby are either, they're the Marvel action books, which they're dollar comics that are about Marvel characters that are published through IDW.
Okay.
So you can still go like, here's, Spider-Man, here's Captain America, here are those.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is the True Believers, which are also dollar Marvel comics. And it's like, think of the Image for like the reprints. So like, I don't have a real Ice Cream Man #1, but I have the dollar Image Firsts Ice Cream Man #1.
I have that too. Yeah.
It's like that, where you want to own the book physically, but don't want to drop that kind of money because you got into the title late. It's been nice to share those. My daughter, she's been more of she'll see My Little Pony and want that because she likes horses. Like, right now, she kind of self-enforces stereotypical gender norms. Like, she's always in a dress and pigtails. She picked those. The book I got for her 2 weeks ago, Disney has a run of like small hardcovers coming out that's called like Movies in Comics.
Okay.
And it's Frozen 1 and 2, the graphic novel for kids. So she can't read yet, but she can at least associate the pictures with the movie, and figure out what's happening on each page, right? She is obsessed with Frozen. If you've seen any of the videos that I've done with my daughter, I'll go, "What's your name?" And she'll go, "I'm Anna."
Oh yeah,
and I'll say,
our goddaughters are the same way.
Yeah. So those are some fun things to look at. I like Comic Chick buying comics online. That's kind of why I like the mystery boxes that, I have started developing a taste for the things that I want to read. And it took me about 9 months to get there, right? That when I first started buying comics, I bought everything that said Marvel on it, right? Or I picked up the DC titles I was familiar with, and then I would pick up an indie title if the cover looked cool. And then as I've kind of done more digging, or I read a book from one of the big two and I just feel confused because I don't understand 70 years of a history of a character.
Right.
That's why I read Nailbiter Returns when it came out last week. And I hadn't read Nailbiter, but I read that #1 and went, I could understand this book even if I didn't read the series that ended 10 years before it, and hopped in. And Comic Burrito, here's will be the best advice. Always judge a book by its cover. When Philadelphia #1 came out, I had no fucking idea what the story was about, but I saw a dude smoking a cigarette, holding a shovel, a flashlight, and a gun. And I went, that's a story I want to look at. And judging a book by its cover in that instance hooked me. And I think that's the difference of this kind of format versus, the way we deploy that cliche of looking at things below the surface.
Well, I'll have to say this. On the note of Philadelphia, I'm on the hunt for the first trade at my LCS.
It comes out in 2 weeks, I think.
Okay, so then I'm not crazy. But if I happened upon issue 1 when I was at my LCS, because I'm a firm believer that the comic books find me on something like this. So I do take all the advice that everybody sends my way. They're like, oh, you're going to love this, especially when you and the Burrito guys call it out to me, because I think you guys kind of get my taste. But this past week, New Comic Book Day, I had that experience with Bleed Them Dry. I almost didn't get it. I was looking at it online and I was like, you know what? This looks like I should consider it. Yes. Hey, look at that. Samesies. And then when I got there and I saw the cover in person, I was like, must take you home. And that's what I did. But I haven't read it yet. So, needless to say, yes, it's in my to be read stack, and it's towards the top of my to be read stack. But I had that experience with Bleed Them Dry this week, and it seems like everybody that's read it since Wednesday is like going crazy for it. But I have not seen any spoilers yet.
It's the end of the first book will kind of make you do this like weird head turn because the story will take like one of three directions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I enjoyed it, but for me, what happens in issue 2 will kind of dictate on what I do right now. And here's Peter in his knowledge of working in a shop. Philadelphia is a great comic on shelves, and I think you're at the right spot though, right? Like me seeing the cover for Philadelphia #1 made me go, I want to read that, and it found me, it presented itself to me, it drug me in. And I think now it becomes a question of, do you want to spend $20 on the trade or spend an obscene amount of money now catching, first prints of everything because the story has gotten way hyped. It's been optioned for a TV show, all of those things.
Nice.
And here's another, we know Nat is right. And for as much as her indie tastes are not out of the mainstream, Peter agrees. Bleed Them Dry, real good.
Yay, I'm on the right track.
What else did you read this week that pulled you in, or books that presented themselves to you in that way of like, I don't know what this is, but I want it?
So, first and foremost, support our shops. I love what Aftershock did with this. My LCS didn't really know what it cost first. They weren't sure what to charge me. And I was like, I'm pretty sure the company said that they were sending it to the shops and the shops could do with it what they wanted.
Yep.
And I love that. Absolutely. But the names in this book, in one, like, it's just like, it's not a double issue in my opinion. It's just like an extra thick comic, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you call it that?
Yeah. Or like all of the stories, they're like maybe 6-7 pages a piece.
There was one that was only like 3 pages.
So it might be at around like 40-ish pages, which is a little bit larger than the first issue. But I mean, for a book that is of no profit to Aftershock, that is a gift to the shops, like those free comic book day books are pieces of shit because they are just floppy and fall apart.
Yeah.
But this is one of those good cardstock covers, and like it's got the talent on it. And
oh my gosh,
I loved it. And it wasn't just a bunch of hokey little stories about nothing.
No.
The way that they were like, here are stories that describe what comics mean and can do. It felt like both a love letter to the shop and to the fan who goes in and supports that. And I thought that was really, really cool.
Absolutely. I had an emotional reaction. Yes, I'm a woman. And yes, I cry sometimes. But I had a physical, emotional reaction where tears came to my eyes because of one of the stories in this book. And it was one of the shorter ones, too. It was the Wonder Woman spoof one, Superhero Woman.
Yep.
Yes, immediately. Because you know what the truth is like these stories made me think about, okay, when did I find comics? What did it evoke from me? Like, why have I just suddenly drowned myself in comic books in less than a year? I'm super new to all this. Like,
me too.
I just have opinions because I just have opinions. Like, I know it doesn't make sense most of the times, and I'm fine with that because I'd rather just laugh about things. But this right here, this made me so emotional about all of people that their lives have pivoted because of walking into a comic book shop, because they happen to find one in a garbage can, because they happen to walk past a store and they were like, oh, I wonder what's in here.
Is that the one you're talking about, Comic Book Heroes? That the first panel is like the young woman of color.
Yes,
in the cape?
Stephanie Phillips. Stephanie Phillips is the author behind that. She's also behind A Man Among Ye, another killer series that is just starting up.
She also did Butcher of Paris.
Did she?
Which was a 6-book, like, true crimey story.
Okay.
And I want to say she's doing Artemis and the Assassin, which might be my favorite Aftershock book.
There she is.
So,
Right there.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anybody in the chat who did not get one of these, I bought 2. And when I go back tomorrow, because I got a call that 2 more trades that I picked up are in the mail, if I need to get more of them, because the way Aftershock announced that they were going to distribute these books was originally in tiers based on like how much business your LCS did with Aftershock, and then they could order extras. So if you did not get one, I think this is one of these kind of cool milestone books that it took the tragedy of COVID and the business struggle of the economic shutdown for this kind of love letter to everybody to come together, but then they brought the heat.
Yes. And the story that you brought up that I'm talking about and that you showed us here, it's by Stephanie Phillips, but the store that it's based on is Pulp 716, who I also follow on Twitter. I'm not sure if you follow them. They are, I forget exactly where they're based, but they're pretty active. And they have a policy that I think their employees have to read 1 new comic book a week, like something that they've never read before. And I think that that's like a new character or something like that. So you'd have to check their page for that. And I think that's really neat, because then it's enabling their employees to remain enlightened and excited about the new stuff, rather than constantly falling on, oh, well, hey, you're probably going to like Iron Man, or hey, you're probably going to like the guy with the green light. I mean, or Disco Man. So like people always have their like fallbacks on, and I do too, but at the same time I'm constantly looking for that new stuff. And if anything though, this book could also get you into other authors or illustrators or colorists or letterers. Everybody deserves the credit.
I 1,000,000% behind you. So I'm going to take a second to do some chat management and say hi to people. So both Peter and Comic Burrito said that Texas Blood came out from Image this week, which is good. I don't know your feelings on crime stories, but it's by, I think the author is a first-time author, and the colorist, it's his first solo project. The story is quirky because it follows like the sheriff of a small town in Texas who's about to turn 70. And all that happens in like the first 2/3 of the book is his wife nagging him about picking up his casserole dish or her casserole dish so she can make something for his 70th birthday.
That sounds
and
standard.
Then it becomes the like inciting incident is the moment of discovery of the casserole dish, that you can tell that they're playing a long game with this book, because you don't know what in the hell it's about until the last page or 2. Because they want you to invest in the character so much.
All right.
So that's cool. Hydra said, got one of my holy grails, Akira #1 first print. That's pretty good. I the only thing I know about Akira is I've seen some of the anime. So that's awesome.
I know nothing. This is my I know nothing face.
Comic Burrito said Green Lantern 80 made them cry. I haven't read that yet. Well, Comic Burrito or Green Lantern?
Green Lantern's 80?
It's 80 years of the book. I got that one. That's
he's 80,
one of my 3 to be read, but that's the cover I got. This is the 60s, 40s variant cover where you can see everybody who's been a Green Lantern. I've been a sucker for these anniversary books that I think it's nice to kind of see an intersection of some of those big DC characters across their time. Let's see. Peter said, again, excited for another one of your picks, A Man Among Ye. So the good thing that you and I have done by randomly deciding to go live on, via a Discord chat is Peter's like, these two motherfuckers read good things.
Yeah, that feels good. Yay, pat on the back. I'm gonna give you a pat on the back too. It looks like a pat on the head though. Sorry.
Comic Chick is excited about seeing fresh new stories from independent publishers.
Mm-hmm.
And then who is the new person? Splash Page Comics. Saw them pop up. Thank you for stopping by. And then they said, don't leave your wife's casserole dish at the church social. You're going to go back looking for it. Yeah. Yeah.
So that Texas Blood, I don't know why the cover, for some reason, when I first, like, I was Twitter scrolling, I saw it, and I was like, I can't lie. I have passed on it. But you guys keep talking about it, so I guess I'm going to have to go look into it. But whatever.
I just think the approach to the story in the number one, like, with, Bleed Them Dry, it's like 3 pages of exposition, and then we immediately know where the conflict comes from.
Okay.
And
I see what you're saying.
That's typical of what we see from a number one, right? That you jump into the action so quickly. But that Texas Blood is playing that long con where you're like, I don't know what the fuck I read about.
Okay.
But you see the end and go, okay. And then the other thing that I really liked about it, one of the things that I've been asking authors and artists as I've interviewed them is, I'm a very musical person. Like, I don't have musical talent. But when I read something that I love, hold on. Is that a big girl I hear?
Yeah, your friends are here.
You want to come in?
Yeah, your friends are here.
All right, then we'll wrap up and say goodbye. But you want to say hi to everybody?
Yeah. Hi.
What's your name? Now you going shy now?
Did I hear your name was Anna?
Are you Anna?
Yeah.
What's your real name? Ainsley. You gonna go play outside and I'll be out there in 5 minutes?
Yeah, can you push me?
I will push you outside on the swings.
Okay. Mom, Daddy.
I will. We're almost done and then I'll be down, okay?
Okay.
But
we can quickly wrap up if you want, and I'm just gonna flash all of these. So, A Man Among Ye, if you read the letter in the back, it's about Tampa, Florida. That's my hometown. That's where I'm at right now. It's about Gasparilla. I've lived it.
Oh, the pirate thing that you were talking to us about, the pirate festival.
Just look up Gasparilla on YouTube, okay? And I'm pretty sure you'll figure out what the hell we do every time. But we're drunk at 9 a.m. Crowded. Okay.
Who's that by?
Volume 2. Crowded is by, it's from Image.
Okay.
Christopher Sabella, Rostein, Ted Brandt, Triona Farrell, Cardinal Ray. They're all super, I know the first 3 names at least, super interactive on Twitter. It's so current and future at the same time. Like, you're like, okay, I live this. Like, it's yeah.
Hold on. Comic Chick. Go stop being rude during dinner, but when you're done eating dinner, since you're like 4 years ahead of us, I teach history but don't know geography, so I don't know time zones. We should, like I said, when I'm done and I'm pushing my daughter on the swing, I'll set up a Twitter chat between the 3 of us and we can come up with a plan instead of me and Nat randomly popping on. But
I'm off work until Tuesday. I go back to work on Tuesday. So
I mean, I don't go back to work until August, and then I still don't know if I really go back to work or if I have to teach via computer. Yeah,
I'm not happy about it either. So, Die. I'm not sure. Oh my goodness. I know Kieran Gillen is a high level read. I get it.
Yeah,
I know he is. But if you're not into Die, then try Once and Future. This is at the top of my to be read list. This is sitting on the top of the stack. So, and then of course, Mercy number 3. So.
That's one that I have not gotten into, that I bought a second print of issue number 1 and just have forgot to pick up 2 and 3. So I think that's going to be a story that I miss or I regret playing catch up on.
You'll never regret it. I would say you're going to love reading it no matter what. And it's mainly because, I mean, Mirka Adolfo does an incredible job with this, but she is a triple threat. Yeah. And I think that's what blows me away every time I pick up an issue of Mercy, is that she is doing all of it. She
Mhm.
is the writer, she is the illustrator, and she is the colorist. Like, that's beautiful. And English isn't her
Yeah.
first language, I believe. So it's like the story is translating really well.
Nice.
You know, everything is just so beautiful about the story, but also super effing terrifying. So
Let's see. I know I flashed the review that I still have to write tonight because on my blog at comicbookposer.com, I will only publish indie reviews on the weekend. So aside from, I got to interview Jared Lahan, who's the author of Dryfoot, which is coming out from Mad Cave Studios in September. It's a like Latinx kids wanting to break free from Little Havana in the 80s. Was a super cool read. I've got issues 1 and 2 of Year Zero to read and talk about.
Same. I'm in the same boat, though. I have both. I haven't gone near them yet.
I mentioned, we talked about Bleed Them Dry. In the love letter that we gave to AWA, Nat, if you're not reading Red Border, you should read Red Border. It is...
I got the feeling this week I should be.
Yeah. Basically the vibe that you get throughout all of book 2 is Get Out with illegal immigrants, but creepier.
Okay.
And then the last one, I really loved the number 1 of this book, Rogue Planet number 2. It's from Oni Press, which ironically you mentioned Rick and Morty earlier, is the publisher that does the Rick and Morty books. But it's Cullen Bunn, Andy McDonald, and Nick Filardi. It is a space horror
story.
You say? Yes.
I'm always down for anything space.
That's why I think you and I will jive well together. But
Did
I've
you
got
read Space Bandits yet?
No.
That one's a Mark Millar book.
And I like him.
Yeah. So get into Space Bandits.
Well, because what was the last thing I read of his? Did he write Sharky the Bounty Hunter?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Sharky the Bounty Hunter is one of the ones that's been optioned for Netflix. But yeah, so those are the things that I've got coming out. I can tell by the chat in terms of the number of people who have popped in and out throughout this that this is the most, not just people I've had show up to something, but stay and be active. So if the people enjoy you and me coming together, then we're definitely going to have to plan for this.
Yeah, I'm totally down for that.
All right.
Right now I've got weekends and most evenings.
Yeah.
So just hit me up.
Yeah, we'll come up with something. But everybody, thank you so much for swinging by. If Nat and I together, we pick a day instead of me going, "Here's my box," and Nat reacts to it. That's what she said.
Yeah, there was so much
yeah,
that's what she said right there.
But if this needs to be, since Nat reads almost exclusively indie titles, and my reading list is probably 2-to-1 indie to I Can't Walk Away from Batman and X-Men.
Man-Bat.
Yeah, I need Man-Bat. But if that's what Nat and I do, is talk about those kinds of things, then we'll most definitely put together our weekly love letter to not the big 2 or 3 publishers.
Yeah, totally. I'm down for that. If you don't mind, I didn't even think about putting in my Twitter handle because I didn't realize this is what was happening, but it's @RockerNatNat if you want to follow. I tweet random stuff. But I'm really thinking about the YouTube channel title that you posed.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. I'm just not sure, but this was a ton of fun. Thanks.
Hydra, no, Nat does not, but I wouldn't say bullied because I wasn't that mean.
You were in my head. I've been thinking about it all week.
Yeah, I randomly, in editing my stream from yesterday, where Nat just popped in and was like, "Am I here with the cool kids?" Nat's comment popped up, and I, in the Discord group that we're both in, responded going, "Nat, you should do this and call it this and it would be brilliant. So I think Nat came through to try the waters of, does it have to be conversational, or can Nat knock it out on her own? And I think the answer is Nat can knock it out on her own. So if this gives Nat enough confidence to start a channel, as long as she still promises to collaborate with me every now and then, I think you're more entertaining than I am to listen to by far.
This has been so much fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy what you're doing. I appreciate, what you have to say about your brand and genre preference of comics. But I also appreciate that you're so open to other stuff. And I think that's what's really important too about helping the comic book industry thrive, right?
Yeah.
Like, we all get stuck in our favorite things. Green Lantern, guys. But
wait, let me scroll back up, and you can say that as where'd the comic burrito comment go? There you go.
Oh man. Seriously, Green Lantern. What about Red Lantern? What about the yellow one? Huh? What about Disco Guy? What about, is there a black light one? And then don't forget there's like emergency floodlight, and then flashlight guy. See,
and the flashlight guy.
Oh, flashlight guy too. Yeah. Oni Press announced another comic that's coming out today, and I shared it on my Twitter. The Oni Press is doing some really interesting stuff. So like, keep them on your radar for sure. I need to get more of them in my hands.
So Hydra agrees that you need to do something. So you can blush more, but I'm gonna hit the end broadcast button so I can go acknowledge my children. But all of you, thanks for hanging out. Nat, thanks for dropping in. And I'm gonna push the button now, and we will talk off the stream for a second.